You're listening to Hebrew Nation Radio.
You are on with the Wise Guys. Hey, and we have a wiser guy coming on with us this morning. He is a father. He is a grandfather. He has over 30 years of experience working with contemporary Christian and modern-day Christian music's biggest names. This guy's kind of been involved in the music scene for a long time. He's director and producer positions of blue-chip technology companies, including IBM and other high-profile technology and marketing companies. He's directed the events of the Texas Instruments and even the FIFA World Cup of Soccer, among others.
Sounds like he's, smart guy as well. So.
I know, right? We want to welcome Mr. Allan Aguirre. Allan, are you there with us, sir?
I'm just an old punk rocker from Los Angeles. That's the funny part.
If every American Christian would do Shabbat every Friday night, it would change everything.
How so? What do you see? What would it do?
Well, the man is actually now functioning as a high priest in his home. What a concept. He's not taught that at church. And when you realize how many Christian men have never led their family in communion at home, it's staggering.
Marriages. We did a couple of songs that are on the album. They're bossa novas. And we would start the song, and I remember calling married couples up to the front. Dance with I'm going to start crying. Dance with your partner, your spouse, before the Lord, unto the Lord, as a form of worship. And that's an unknown concept. And we were playing these beautiful love songs to God, and inviting married couples to come up and dance with each other as an offering and a love sacrifice, not only for each other but before the Lord. It was amazing, absolutely amazing.
Here's what's happening in the spiritual realm. This is what I'm sensing in the spirit. We're not going to the next level because that means not everybody's going to be graduating. And we're not going into a new season because that means that season has a beginning and an end. What I think is happening is here's what I'm hearing. We're all, everyone, regardless of where you're at, we're all going into the next stage. We're entering as a planet. We're entering, as humanity, we're entering into the next stage. And this next stage, here's what the Father would do. The Father would hit the table as hard as he can. I would do it, but I got coffee here, and say, enough. But then as a loving father with an older child, with an adult child, he would say, come on, it's time. Enough is enough. It's time. And what he's talking about is it's time for you to grow up. It's time for you to grow up and start adulting in him, and start being an adult and start taking care of your business with him.
I am going to boldly suggest that what we're going to start to unpack today is that piece that your keyboardist was talking about. There's grace for that realignment. There's grace for that taking care of business. And she said it's because we love you. And see, and that's true because Jesus said, if you love me, you will keep my commandments. These are the commandments we're talking about. They're the commandments that were given to Moses on our behalf. And it's amazing. It's not legalistic. There's nothing legalistic about it. There's nothing legalistic about loving Jesus and obeying him. Nothing legalistic about that. If it is legalistic, you're doing it wrong. I hate legalism. Look at me. I look like this for a reason. I hate legalism. So speaking of that, my name's Allan Aguirre. I'm from Los Angeles, the Hollywood Burbank area. I was in the entertainment industry for the majority of my life, and that's not something I suggest any of you do. I mention it, I bring it up in this book. This is called This Thing is Spiritual. It's about the spirituality of art from the biblical narrative. This applies to whatever you do. If you're the sound guy, if you're a musician, if you're a painter, a sculptor, a writer, a dancer. But it's also for you as a believer because you're supposed to be a worshiper as a believer. And that's about as creative as it gets. This is called Exodus to Ingathering. It's a 52-week devotional that starts in March to March, because that's God's biblical calendar. That's the first month of Abib. That's when Passover is, and we're going to get there in a minute. So this book takes you through the journey of Exodus, right? The Exodus of Israel from Egypt through the desert to their inheritance, their promised prophetic inheritance. Paul is the apostle to the Gentiles, and Paul says in 1 Corinthians 10, 1 through 12, that what happened to Israel in the desert, do not be ignorant of. Because what happened to them in the desert happened and was written down as an example, as a warning for you, the New Testament church. The feasts of God, Leviticus 23. Now let me just do a little bit of correction. These are not Jewish holidays. These are not Jewish feasts, because God says these are my feasts for my people. I want to be his people. Gentiles are all, well, I'm not a Jew. But wait, Romans. You're apostle to the Gentiles. Paul says you're grafted into the commonwealth of Israel, into the olive tree. Either way, this applies to you. Leviticus 23 applies to modern day Christianity.
How are we going to do that? That's what's coming. I mean, if you read Revelation, here's what's coming. A false prophet that is absolutely capable of deceiving the entire institution of Christendom. And it says that if it wasn't for the days being shortened, even the elect would be deceived. Okay, what about the rest of them? Right? A beast system that is going to be completely demonic and against us. And we will be on their list, if not already. And an antichrist, the antichrist. We're talking about the Luciferian warlord of the earth in physical form with supernatural powers and abilities and with alliances that are probably not of this world. Are they alien? Are they demonic? Are they extraterrestrial? I think all of the above. Are they interdimensional? I mean, Ephesians 6 uses some crazy language.